Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time zone you're in. I'm on the west coast of Florida, the east coast of the United States. And before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone has your favorite beverage. Mine is coffee this morning. It's in one of my favorite mugs. It's a pretty good cup too. And I want to give you a hug from me because we all need a hug. And even though this is virtual, make sure you do know that this is genuine. So right now I'm waiting for my friend Charnetta. We're going to do a Zoom conversation. She's in Orlando, I'm in Sarasota, but we're going to come together through the science of modern technology, and we're going to have a discussion. We're going to be talking about some information that you may or may not know about, but it's important, it's vital to us for our families so that we can make sure that we are protecting our families with the vehicle of insurance, and not just for final expense, but living benefits. And we're just going to talk. So stick around, and we would just like you to subscribe to the channel, comment, like the video, and let's grow this community. Baby boomers, millennials, Gen X's, it doesn't matter. I'm a baby boomer, and so I kind of speak to the baby boomers, but we're just all just one big old happy family. Well, good morning, Miss Barnes. How are you?
I am doing phenomenal this morning. How are you? Thank you for
I'm good.
asking.
Do you have your coffee?
Actually, today I decided to get water.
That's fine. So listen, YouTube family, I'd like to introduce you to a very, very good friend of mine. And also, she mentors me. With all this gray hair, this young lady mentors me. And that's just an amazing thing. Miss Charnetta Barnes with Core Financials. Introduce yourself.
Well, I am Charnetta Barnes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself because most people don't know. I'm a mother of five. I am married. We do have an insurance agency, and I'm currently now getting in my health as well when it comes to working on my body, mindset, and of course, my soul. So I don't want to get too much into it about me because this platform is definitely about the wonderful Linda. I am so happy to actually work alongside with her. She is phenomenal at what she does. She's an educator. And not only that, but she mentioned a little bit about me mentoring her. But honestly, she is like the mama bear of our organization. And we just love her so dearly. So I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you. I was not expecting all of that, but I'll take it. So, okay, so family, this is we've decided to come together just to talk a little bit about a very, very important subject, and that is protection, insurance protection. And everyone thinks of like life insurance as like being this bill or being something that nobody wants to talk about. But guess what? When it's needed, it's the first thing that everybody asks about. So,
Yes.
yeah. So backing up a little bit, I've been in insurance since 2008, but I was not utilizing my license to protect families from financial devastation. What I was using it for was what I was comfortable. I was comfortable being just a Medicare advisor. And I've helped many, many seniors, including myself and my family. I walked into the room, as a matter of fact, my brother and my sister mom were in the room. And I walked in and I'm like, look at all these old people. And I said, you know, you're getting old when your younger siblings and your mom are your Medicare clients. But guess what? I'm my own Medicare client at 68 years old. So I met Miss Charnetta. The first time I spoke with her was on the phone. I was sitting in a Walgreens in Sarasota, Florida during this time of the year, 2 years ago, annual election period. And I gone online and requested a contract with a senior insurance marketing group that she was at that time was a part of. And she was the person that called me, and we talked, and was just something about her voice was so warm. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do it right now because I'm busy with this Medicare stuff, which I'm still busy with right now. But anyway, we got to meet, and that's how our story started. But this is not about Charnetta or about me. This is about you guys. So I'm going to kind of ask anyone viewing this video, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will, I promise you, get back to you with an answer. And if I don't know the answer, I will research it before I just give you any old, you know, thing out of the wind. But let's talk about the different types of insurances, Miss Barnes. I'm going to call you Charnetta from this point forward, but anyway, let's talk about it.
Well, the most common insurance that most people know is typically final expense. And that's, where you pass away and you get a death benefit to provide for the services, whether it's funeral or cremation, which is common known as final expense. Everyone knows what that is. They call it the death insurance. But there's far so many insurance that people don't realize that you can utilize while you're living. One of them is something that everyone's trending right now, which is IULs. Another one is infinite banking, premium financing, of course, term policies as well. But the one that is really trending now is typically IULs. And it's just a policy that you can have in place that you can utilize while you're living, and then still have attached death benefit as well. This benefit can be used, as you have seen before, if you've done videos, it can be used for college funding, it can be used for retirement. It's tax-free. It's a way that you can leverage your income. It could be where you can build generational wealth by utilizing. Is a book we read a couple of months back, and it was called "What Would the Rockefellers Do?" And that is typically what they use to build wealth throughout their family, which is an IUL, Indexed Universal Life Policy. But going back to what you said of getting peace of mind and going hand in hand with Medicare, the one main thing that most seniors, because not everyone wants an IUL, and not everybody can qualify for an IUL based on their age or health conditions. But one thing that I know that everyone can qualify for is quote unquote death insurance or final expense. And that's typically the word for it is final expense. But those are the different types of insurance that are available to certain people. But final expense, I think, is where we both started because it was more intriguing. Not only that, but my grandmother had health conditions. I have family members that have health conditions, whether it's diabetes or cancer. My mom, thank God for her, she's beating cancer. She's doing so phenomenal what she's doing. But for her, she wouldn't qualify for a larger policy. But having something is better than not having nothing. And final expense is always going to be that solution because typically, like you stated, you want to have a benefit. So when someone does pass away, you have something in place to make sure that, I'm sorry about that. That's what I call it, making sure that they have, something in place to have that funeral being taken care of immediately. And one thing that I like about final expenses, they typically pay within 24 to 48 hours of passing, which is super huge. The larger policies may take a week or so. So that means you may have to fund it first before that time comes. And I love the transparency with your YouTube because most people don't know that. But most people have insurance on their job. And I don't know if you want to get into that topic of how,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, because when people realize a lot of individuals say, well, I have something on my job. Well, we all have to retire at some point, right? And so when you retire, that policy is no longer enforced. And at that point, you would then have.
If I tell people all the time, I don't mean to cut you off, but we just had
No,
a
go.
conversation. So people say to me, well, I have insurance with my job. But the truth of the matter is, if that job folds, which a lot of companies, large and small, right now in this volatile economy we have do, or if you get laid off, or you get fired, or let's say you get
Health condition.
A health condition, and I love the fact that there are so many. We even offer a final expense product that has living benefits built into it, and I think that's phenomenal. And
I think that's the main thing. That I was going to say that the main thing. Let's talk about living benefits because we're talking about death benefit, we're talking about IULs, but then no one sees the middle of what are you utilizing while you're living. And I think some of these attachments that are to these certain policies as far as living benefits for chronic illness, if you do get into a bad accident, you can pull from that policy and allow that policy, certain policies, to pay your bills for the next few months or during your surgery process, or having cancer. I have a success story of an individual who ended up getting an IUL, and she was healthy as a whistle, right? And then a few months later, she found out she had breast cancer. Of course, she had to go through surgeries, they had to go through chemo, but guess what? She was able to utilize the cash value that she had within that policy just for a few months, and off the policy, that she was able to start receiving funds every single month to help her still pay her bills and not lose her home. I don't think a lot of people realize that living benefits makes a huge, huge, huge difference, but it also leaves peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. My two of my very first life insurance policies that I wrote, it was up in Maryland. And as a matter of fact, one of the families they're still with me. Their mom had cancer. So I think her policy was maybe 6 months old when she got diagnosed, but they still, and it was with Foresters was the company. They still honored and paid that family that I think it was about a $10,000 policy, but they paid them because she did not have cancer at the time that she got her policy. Had she waited 6 months, and I also had, and it was really sad because I really, really, she was just a very, very kind, sweet woman. And I had my first experience of having to deliver and help a client, because people think that we just write, like you can get a policy just by filling out something that comes in the mail, but you don't have an advisor or an agent to work with you. They don't realize that our job doesn't start. It starts once that policy is delivered. It doesn't start when we're writing the application.
Absolutely.
Because you want to get to know. There's just different things, but excuse me. Well, I told you I'm in my office. I can't help all that. But it was something I saw something on a social media the other day. It was a beautiful picture of these two little boys. They were probably like maybe 3 years old and maybe 7, and the picture was them walking toward the beach. That was the picture, but the story was so sad because one of the younger brothers had lost his life. They didn't go into details of how or what, whether it was a unexpected accident or whatever. What touched my heart was that this family was having to ask for donations to help to bury this child. Had they had, there's so many like children policies, even like the Gerber grow ups. You can get IULs for children. And the thing is, like, people don't want to think about a child leaving here. We don't, that's just like, but it happens. If you have breath of life in you, it's gonna come in, it's gonna go out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it kind of made me sad because this young family, instead of being able to focus on the healing aspect, now they're on social media asking strangers to donate so that they could bury their child. And it's not just for children. I mean, when I thought about that, it kind of made me so sad, because then I was thinking about when my dad died in 2013. I was up, he was a fisherman, and I had closed up my house and went over to Montauk, and I was helping him on the boat. And the night before he died, I had gone to shoot some pool with my grandson, and I came back in, and he was like, "Where you get all that energy?" I was like, "I don't know, Daddy." And that morning he didn't wake up to go fishing with us. And I do have that. There's a video that I share that story. Yeah. But I found the insurance policy. My father had taken out a policy before he even had children. It was paid up, and he just added us as we were born. And all I had to do, and the company, I don't remember, I wish I had saved a copy of it. The company was, I don't know the name of it, but they paid it off, and I didn't have to do anything except be a daughter and heal and grieve. And I think about the impact on families that don't have protection. It's just, it's heart wrenching
Well, Linda, you're
because
saying something that's so unique, and I don't even think that you just said it. And the thing about it is you are providing not just a service, but the education. Because you just mentioned something and a light bulb went up into my head. And you said, my dad had a policy even before he had children. Not a lot of people think like that. So now, if you think back and you dissect that, well, why did he get a policy before he had children? Someone in your family educated them on the importance of having something that was in place.
Mhm.
And a lot of people just don't know, which is why they don't. I didn't think about it, before I had children. I seen my grandmother had a policy, and the man would come by the house and pick it up every single month. And, you know,
When I was in Baltimore, when I was early in my insurance career, I go knock at the, hey, Ma, it's the insurance
man,
lady.
yeah, and you make him a plate and have him a pop soda at the time, and he actually was walking on foot like a mailman, like knocking around the neighbors' doors, picking up all the all the deposits. And it's funny because we knew then, our parents knew how important it was. So to hear you say that your father had one even before he had children, that was instilled into him to say, hey, this is important. You need this insurance for just in case of anything may happen. Just like how we have car insurance, we have renters insurance, we have homeowners insurance. We have all these
insurance.
look,
People will insure a daggone cell phone and then
look,
make an excuse of saying,
come on.
I ain't trying to leave no money for somebody to be. No, you're not leaving money for people. You're leaving a protection for your family. And not only that, it's about dignity.
Yeah.
It's about being able to lay a loved one, to give them, I mean, we don't have to do these big ostentatious funerals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nowadays, a lot of people opt in for, I told my
Cremation.
children, don't put that money in the ground.
Yeah.
I have opted for a cremation for myself, merely because I think it's a waste. Me personally, now, I'm not going into all that. Everyone has their views, but the money, and it's not just about. There's a lot of expenses that go and get involved with the final expenses. I mean, you might have to have some bills that have to be paid. Family may need to travel in, food. There's a lot of things that get
that
involved.
Repass. That repass is not that repass is expensive.
Girl, I think one of the most wildest things I heard was, well, I can't afford it because I have family that's going to take care of it. Well, if you can't afford it, why would you want to put that weight on with an adult child or a family member? I had a friend once said, dirt don't care who put you in it. No, yeah, it doesn't. I mean, those are ignorant. To me, that's the most ignorant.
But you know what, too, Linda? I think it's more so off of my experience in this industry for quite as long, because we hear all the things, dig me up in the backyard. I'm just not going to pay for it. I don't want to leave anybody money.
I'm going to donate my body to science. Science don't want that body. And not only that, they don't really realize it, but they charge you for that. They charge someone has to pay for that.
They do. And not only that, but I think it's more so, it's not that they just really feel that way. I think that it hasn't been brought to their attention on really what's going to happen, right? I don't think that, I think they're just avoiding the conversation. So to put something in there that's funny to them, or just like, I don't care, it allows them to be more nonchalant with it. Exactly. Because when you sit down, and I've had conversations with people who's like, just dig me in the backyard, I have insurance, or I don't have it and I don't care. But then when I sit down and I say, hey, listen, Maria or Linda, you got a husband, right? You're like, yep, he's okay, he's fine. Okay, well, guess what? Just put me in this trance real quick. 3:00, and you said your husband works. Sometimes he gets home around 9:00, 7:00. Okay, what if 10:00 comes? And this is what I make a reality for them. What if 10:00 comes and you don't hear your husband knocking on the door? Oh, well, I'll just give him a call. I know he'll be fine. Sometimes that happens. Okay, 11 o'clock. Well, I'll just give him a call. What if he doesn't answer? Oh, okay, well, I'll just wait. Well, 1 o'clock comes and you finally hear this. What is your feeling? I'm just going to get up and go open the door for him. Yeah, but when you open that door, the cops are there letting you know that your husband just got into a really bad car accident and he's no longer living. You're feeling right now, I know your stomach's empty. How do you feel right now? Because in reality, someone in this world, it happened to them last night, the night before, it's going to happen tonight, tomorrow. You're just fortunate that it hasn't happened to you, but why not prepare for that now? Exactly. And I think when you make that in reality to someone who's being nonchalant, it kind of like makes them feel like, oh man. Or when it comes to the parents, they're like, I don't need to get any on my son or my child because they're fine. Okay, your son or daughter goes to school and they're happy-go-lucky with their brand new backpack for school, and they go to school and you get a call that your child has passed away from a gun shooting. Well, not my, but it has happened. We can't avoid that this has happened. And there are mothers right now who sent their child off to school and did not come back. So you're fortunate, but that person wasn't. But that's not going to say they're not spared. That is the point of having something that's in line. Now, that's scary, yes, but it's something we need to be cautious for. But also, it doesn't have to be just final expense. There's a flip to that we do now, right? We always talked about the death part, but now we have the availability to tell them, well, let's not worry about the death. Now, what if you can put your son into school? Your son goes to school for the next 8 years and they graduate. And now when they graduate, they need a house or they want to open up their business. But because of this insurance, IUL, that you have got in place for your child, they now have over $300,000 cash liquid access that they can pull out to even take 50,000 and put towards a business. How would that make you feel knowing that you set your child up for a future? So there's always different ways. So when you bring it to them in that aspect, you're talking to two different clients, but ultimately they need both. It works hand in hand, you know? So I agree with you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility. It's each adult's responsibility. You know what I mean? We have to be accountable to our families. I was speaking to a woman just 2 days ago, as a matter of fact, who told me that she has insurance on her job. Her husband has no insurance. They have a set of twin girls and a young son who's out of the home. I guess he's in his early 20s. And I said to her, I said, well, we need to talk, because we're not even, forget about something like the total finality happened. What if your husband gets hurt on the job? How are you going to pay your mortgage? She goes, well, we rent. Well, so rent or mortgage doesn't matter. How are you going to pay those bills if he doesn't have any coverage and you're young enough to get it? So I just think it's really about educating people, a paradigm shift, changing our mindsets.
Absolutely.
Not understanding that insurance is not a bill. It is an absolute, it's an investment. It's a necessity. And guess what is not insurance? GoFundMe. They are not insurance. And the bottom line is, I just could not even imagine. Let me tell you a little secret. I think of my my youngest daughter's father is no longer here. I'm the only, I'm her only parent. My oldest daughter has her father and a stepmother. They're not together anymore either, and then me. I don't think any of them have life insurance. I've talked to them about it. You can lead them to the water. You can't make them drink.
Make them drink it. That's right.
So I just personally am not going to be that one in 5-10 years after I'm gone that they'll be talking about. Yeah, mama. Mama left me some. She left us something, all right, a bunch of bills. No, only kidding. But but seriously, people don't look at it like that. And I know that, we're living in a tough economy, but you know what? I tell you what, I'd rather be, I don't care if it's $50, $75. I don't care how much it is a month that you have to invest in that in your family. It's a whole lot better than having to try to come up with $10,000, $15,000. And the very fact is things are getting more expensive every
Oh yeah.
year.
Oh yeah.
You
It's
know.
a necessity. It's something that's it's like when you wake up in the morning time and you have to open up your eyes or you have to breathe in fresh air. That's how important it is. But people sometimes don't realize that until they have a near death experience or they have a really bad health scare.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh my God, I need to get some coverage. And I'm like, just like you said, had you got coverage, the younger you are, the less money you spend, the healthier you are. Your best rate is at right now at the healthiest. Don't wait until the last minute, even though we can try to get you coverage the last minute, but you have a 2 year, 3 year waiting period. It's strenuous. It's more higher. It's less protection, less coverage for more of, more money. It's a hassle. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you get these things done, like should be like a knock on your door, like right now, I don't have any. I'm watching this video. This is God telling me I need to get something. And it's not saying that you have to go get it from us. We're saying just we want to help you, but get it from anyone. If you have someone that's in your family that has a license to provide you this service, do it. And something is better than not having nothing. If you're on a budget, most Americans are, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Something is better than not having nothing at all. And you can get a small policy, even if it's just a burial policy. Now, if you have more to put into investments, absolutely. I know individuals now that are spending $700-800 a month on a car note and then $600 on insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's $1,100 and you're still a working American, but you're making sure you have that as a necessity. But guess what? If you pass away and that car is not paid off, that goes back to the dealership, right? It doesn't go to your child unless they pick up the bill. And now you just left your child with debt. You just left them with an insurance bill or final expense bill that they have to pay for. The most important thing to typically our parents is their children. It should be their children,
And it's the
you
same
know?
thing with a house with a mortgage.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you pass away with an outstanding mortgage, and unless those kids or a family or significant other is in a position to come in and take over that mortgage, and it has to be, I believe it has to be in a trust where it can that name can go ahead.
Yes.
Guess who owns your house? I don't care how many years you paid on that mortgage. So
Yep.
these are just some conversations that need to be had, and I'm so grateful that you agreed to come on my little platform and have this
Absolutely.
conversation with us. And what I would
Absolutely.
love to do, Charnetta, I mean, I know you're only 2.5 hours from here. You're in Orlando. I'm here in Sarasota, but I would really, really love to make this get into some deeper dives in and talk some more. How's that?
Absolutely. I would love to be on your platform. I love what you're doing. I love how you're educating. Like I just said, you're like the mama bear of the organization, and we just love what you're doing. So anything we can do to support, absolutely. Anything we can do to educate our community, I'm all for it. I'm all
Yes,
for it.
let's keep this conversation going. And question, I'm a baby boomer. Are you millennial or are you a Gen X? You're not a Gen X. You're a millennial, aren't you?
I'm a millennium. Yes, I am.
Okay. I wanted to get on. So that was the point, was that, you know what, age is just a number.
Yes.
I'm 68, you're early 30s, but we are able to come together and have some mutual understanding and some mutual conversations. I just love you so much. Here, take this hug.
Thank you.
And I will
I
see
appreciate
you
you.
soon. Okay. So that's it for now. And we will come back again and
Oh,
absolutely.
wait.
What?
If they're not already doing it, please like, share, and follow for more content from Miss Lady Linda Bird.
That's right. And make comments. Okay. I will talk to you soon.
Perfect. Bye.